In future projects, I'm going to need some starch. Not just any starch though, I'm specifically going to need potato starch. So I decided to extract it myself. The projects I specifically need it for are making mold plates, time clock reactions, and making Starlite. Starch is special in itself because it is made up of two polysaccharides which are both polymers of glucose. This glucose is stored within the cell walls of plants, and it is used as energy to help build new cell walls as well as a few other processes. So let's get into extracting it. The first thing we need to do is get some potatoes. There are many types of potatoes out there, but specifically I'm going to be using Idaho russets, which are supposed to be the potatoes with the highest starch content of any of the common brands of potatoes available. So I start off with 5 potatoes with a total weight of 2.36 pounds or just over 1,000 grams. Initially, we need to skin the potatoes, and the skins of the potatoes do contain a certain amount of starch, though they themselves can contain some other stuff that would be harder to filter out later, so we decide to leave it out. The next thing we need to do is get the starch from the potato. Even though we obviously can't see it, starch is stored within the cell walls as a granular substance, so we need to destroy the cell walls before trying to extract the starch. I recommend using something like a cheese grater, but cutting up the potatoes will work as well. I am almost making a potato paste while doing this though. Ideally, mashing the potatoes completely would release the maximum amount of starch, though this would make filtering really annoying and take a lot longer later. So smaller pieces are better, but not small enough you can't filter out later. From there, I add all of my now grated potatoes into a washing container. By the time I am done with all of the potatoes, they started turning this weird red color. This color is due to the base phenol rings oxidizing. More specifically, catechol oxidizes into benzoquinone and aquinone. When the cells get damaged, the enzyme reacts with the benzoquinone to synthesize melanins, which are then the red color that we see. As a quick note though, this is the same process that happens when an apple gets damaged and it oxidizes. It's interesting that the process is so common with products that grow like potatoes, apples, bananas, and grapes. After this, I add a bunch of water and start stirring. Starch is semi-soluble in water, but falls out of solution really quickly, so we need to stir, followed by funneling off the water. As we stir, we can see we are also bringing over the reddish melanins that are present in the solution. I wash the potatoes 5 times with distilled water and repeat these same steps. This is really to help remove any starch that is left within the solution. After the 5th washing, my container is full, and we can already see some of the starch starting to fall out of solution at the bottom. I decant the water layer into another container, and we are left with some extremely dirty starch that has a bunch of particles and some potatoes left in it, which can now be filtered off. So, to filter everything off and clean the starch a little bit, I add some more water and follow these steps 2 to 3 more times. I add water, mix it thoroughly, and let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes. When I come back, I am surprised to still see the dark brown solution. Every time I watch the starch from here on out, the solution will get lighter and lighter. Once all of the red color has been washed out, I will now strain out any remaining potatoes. Before straining, I mix everything thoroughly so that the starch is suspended in the water. I also wash the potatoes in the strainer with some warm water in order to get the remaining starch from them. After 40 minutes, when everything was settled, I once again decant off the solution. After one more washing, my starch is as pure as it's going to get from any water washings, and I pour everything out onto a watch glass to dry. My ambient temperature is about 95 degrees, so within a few hours, I'm in good shape to scrape everything again and continue to let it dry until the next day. When I come back, I have 50 grams of pretty clean, nice white starch, which means this starch counts for at least 5% of the weight of the potatoes, which is really cool for me to think about. From now though, that's all, and I really appreciate all of you taking the time to watch this video. I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon subscribers. They get to see some new content before it drops, though mainly they help fund my future videos and projects that I'm working on, and you can see all of their names here. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.